Astronauts to the moon.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
What's going on, everyone? It's Jaron from Jeranism. I'm back with another live video for you tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. I do greatly appreciate it, as always. I want to do a special quick shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys so much for making this channel possible. Tonight's video will be a little bit different, but still very important, and a video I promised to do for a few people who asked for it this past Saturday at the Sacramento meetup, where I showed up with some of my distilled water and was asked the questions I will answer in tonight's live stream. So that's the plan. It is titled, How and Why I Distill My Drinking Water. And so that's the plan. We will do that in that order. First the how, and then the more important question, the why. So again, thank you guys for joining me. I do appreciate it, as always. This video won't be too long, but then again, it could be a little bit longer than normal. I think it's very important, and so we're going to be covering it in pretty good detail, and we're going to get into the fluoride question here towards the middle of this video, and after I show you how I distill my water, then we're going to be covering that topic pretty extensively. But again, I always ask people, you need to do your own research, okay, on this. Of course, you're going to find sites out there, and we'll talk about this in detail, that will tell you that fluoride is good. It's good for your teeth and all that fun stuff. But I'm going to show you the other side of the story, and then point you to a movie that I think that you should watch. It'll be kind of your homework for tonight. So I think it's important, and we're going to be covering it. Also, with all videos like this, I'm sure that there are many other ways to do this, possibly cheaper ways. I'm going to be giving you my recipe for homemade toothpaste, for example. And of course, you can find many such recipes online on YouTube. So by no means do you need to do it my way, or use my recipe, or distill your water the way I do. However, the important thing is that you remove the pesticides, the fluoride, and the bacteria from your drinking water. And whatever method or recipe you use is up to you. I'm simply going to be telling you how I will do it and why I do it. So hence the name of this video, How and Why I Distill My Drinking Water, and it is live. Also, one other thing, I will be showing you my distiller, which was gifted to me by Mr. David Weiss, purchased through Amazon, by the way. I do want to point out, by the way, thank you very much, David Weiss, for that. Because of the price of it, I probably would never have purchased it on my own. But after receiving it and using it and reaping the awesome benefits, well, now I can't imagine living without it. So thank you so much to David Weiss. But as I was saying, I'll be showing you a product that can be purchased by Amazon, and I'm sure elsewhere. But let it be known very clearly that I make no money from any purchase that you make at Amazon. I used to have an affiliate account, but Amazon gave me the boot earlier this year, so I have no affiliation at all with Amazon. I make no money from any purchase that you make excuse me, because of this video or any past video or any future video. I will make no money from that. So if after this video you feel I helped you live healthier or happier, and you'd like to tip me or thank me with a very kind donation, I'd appreciate that a lot. And you can easily do so by using PayPal at paypal.me/Jaron. You can also go to Venmo, which is just a simple @jeranism, or join the coolest club west of Singapore. And that is my patrons. By becoming a Patreon fan, just go to patreon.com/jeranism. And I thank you guys in advance. And if you can't support monetarily, as always, please simply click the thumbs up button if you like this video. Don't click it now. Wait till the end. Make sure you like it. You'll see that little thumbs up beneath this video. And if you don't like it, click the thumbs down. That's what happens. I learned from that. And share it with your friends, your family, coworkers, teammates, fellow prisoners. I don't know, whatever method works for you. I greatly do appreciate it all. Okay, so let's get on with it. Again, the title of this video is How and Why I Distill My Drinking Water. So let's start the show, shall we? All right. Let's see here. And we're going to be watching a few videos here that I made and looking at some images that I prepared for you. So let's first start with a TDS meter, just so you know what that is. Let me get there for you. Okay, this is a TDS meter. All right. Very cheap. You know, it's a water testing device that you can, it'll run you about $5-10. They're great for testing drinking water, aquariums, etc. They usually give you a readout as the total dissolvable solids percent in the water, or present in the water. TDS is the title because it means total dissolvable solids, obviously, of a solution. In this case, water. Usually it's given in parts per million. So this is what mine looks like. I think it costs $4 or something on Amazon. What I am going to show you real quick is we're going to read about it here. This is asking, what is the acceptable total dissolved solids level in drinking water? And we're just going to read through some of this real quick. So the total dissolved solids, also known as TDS, are the inorganic compounds that are found in water, such as salts, heavy metals, and some traces of organic compounds that are dissolved in our water. Excluding the organic matter that are sometimes naturally present in the water and the environment, some of these compounds or substances can be essential to life, but it can be harmful when taken more than the desired amount needed by the body. The total dissolved solids present in water are one of the leading causes of turbidity, which is, I think, clarity. If water is turbid, it means it's foggy or whatever. And sediments in drinking water, when left unfiltered, total dissolved solids can be the cause of various diseases. Make sure we note that. A total dissolved solid is a measure of the combined total organic and inorganic substances contained in that liquid. This includes anything present in water other than pure H2O molecules. These solids are primarily minerals, salts, and organic matter that can be a general indicator of water quality. So we'll go down a little bit further. The TDS in drinking water comes from natural water sources, sewage, urban runoff, industrial wastewater, and chemicals used in the water treatment process, and the hardware or piping used to distribute that water. In the United States, higher TDS was brought by natural environment features like salt deposits, mineral springs, seawater intrusion, and carbonate deposits. Other sources may include anti-skid materials like salts used for de-road icing, stormwater and agricultural runoff, water treatment chemicals, and non-point wastewater discharges. A little bit further down here, we do see that therefore the total dissolved solids test is used as an indicator test to determine the general quality of water. Okay, a little bit further here we see what composes total dissolved solids and how do they contaminate our water supply. Different substances comprise the total dissolved solids in drinking water. As a natural flora of water and the environment, bacteria and viruses can be found in the total dissolved solids. These are the organic compounds found in drinking water. Chemicals found in the water and water supply include heavy metals, salts, pharmaceutical drugs that are caused by human waste materials which contaminate the water and water supply. Sometimes chemicals such as iron, potassium, sodium, and other chemicals that are known to man are present in drinking water too. These chemicals are caused by human waste products that contaminate our water sources, not to mention the volatile organic compounds they use to pollute the water by leaking through the water supply in the soil. Still further down here, we're going to get what is the acceptable total dissolved solids level in drinking water. The total dissolved solids is measured in milligrams per unit volume, also referred to as parts per million. For drinking water, the maximum concentration level set by the EPA is 500. So your TDS, if you got one of these meters, like I said, you can get them for $5 on Amazon. Test your drinking supply water. I'll show you mine here in a second, but I used to live in a city called Salinas, California, where the water would test anywhere from 420 to 480, which is extremely high. And as you just see here, the maximum amount is 500. Anything near 1,000, you'll see down here, numerous water supplies exceed this level. When TDS levels exceed 1,000 milligrams or 1,000 parts per million, it is generally considered unfit for human consumption. A high level of TDS is an indicator of potential concerns and appeals for further investigation. A little bit further down, we see high TDS results in undesirable taste, which can be salty, bitter, metallic. It could also indicate the presence of toxic materials or minerals. Sorry, read that there more carefully, Jared. High TDS point out the hard water, which causes scale buildups in pipes and valves. This eventually restricts performance. And obviously, if you use the water that comes out of your faucet to clean your car or something like that, we've all seen the water spots. What's left behind is actually those hard water buildups, which comes from a high TDS. Okay, so that's basically. Oh, I have a little bit of other section here I wanted to read. How can we safely purify our water? Well, after knowing a few of the processes to filter and purify water, different questions are forming deep in our head, like how safe is it to be consumed? How will it affect our health and our family as well? Since we all know that radiation is harmful to our health and chemicals, remember this, radiation, when defined, it always leads to toxicity and disease. Okay, another one, it always leads to toxicity and disease. However, there is a way to purify water from these contaminants and remove these impurities safely and effectively without the use of chemicals or radiation. Another reliable way to purify water is boiling. Very important, as that's exactly what I do, and we're going to see that here in a second with the distiller. This is the most basic way of purifying water. Also, in purifying water from doubtful water sources, you must not forget to filter the water, as it may still have some sediments and solid particles. All right, so that's basically the first thing we're going to read. Now we're going to be showing you here just some video. And like I said, this is the TDS meter. Again, it's $5. It's so simple. You'll see here I'm running some faucet water here at my house. We're going to be filling up just regular. I let it run for a little while first, so it's not just the initial buildup in the pipes. Now I'm going to take my TDS meter here. Sorry about the sound. I did take out some sound from this. You'll see here you can just set it to, you just turn it on. It starts at 0. Place it in the water once it's kind of settled. Click the hold button and you'll get your number, your total dissolvable solids. So the number of my public drinking water comes out at 128 here. That's parts per million. And so now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a freshly cooked batch of water. This is coming out of my home distiller, which we will be looking at in detail momentarily. Again, you want to let those bubbles kind of settle, let the water kind of settle for a second. Once it's settled, take your meter and place it in. Again, this water has been cooked by my home water distiller. Usually comes in at 0, but this time I think I got 1. Let's watch and see. Maybe it was 1 at first and then 0. Nope, it was just 0 there. I think I retest it and get a 1. So much more, much better water for you. Totally clean, totally pure. There you go. That came back at 1. And so there you go. I want to show you this bag right here. Okay, this bag is 1 month of me saving everything that comes out of my water. Can you believe that? That's a normal sized Ziploc baggie, sandwich baggie, Ziploc baggie. Hard to believe that that stuff is in our water. And when you've got families that are, can't afford bottled water and are feeding it to their children, this stuff is what is going into our system. Another problem with this stuff is that it's very difficult to break that down. I think I show you here in a second. I'll actually try and add some of that to my purified water. Here we go. So that water that just tested at 1, I'm going to just drop a nug here back in to the glass just to show you that it will not dissolve even in that water because it's so minute in the water that we drink every day if you drink faucet water. And I go ahead and try and speed this up here so that I can show you. I'm trying to stir that in, get it to dissolve. Doesn't really well, but we'll then test this water just to show you what's going on with it. And I think it comes back at 200 or something. And again, that was fast forwarded, so I let this sit for a while. But imagine if this is in your system. So people who have, I don't know, a lot of people have urinary tract infections. A lot of people, so what did that come in at? 104. Okay. But again, I just put that in. So when you're looking at total dissolvable solids, it's looking at the amount that's dissolved in the water. So again, I wait a little bit longer, let it dissolve a little bit further, reset that device, put it back in. Now we're at 317, 323, something like that. Okay, yep, 317. All right, and again, I waited a little bit to let that dissolve even further, but look how disgusting that is. Pretty freaking gross, okay? And so, yeah, a lot of people have all kinds of issues. Mrs. Mom has, I can't think of what it's called right now. Anyway, kidney stones, sorry. But when you think about that going through, her system, and of course she's told to drink lots of water, so she drinks lots of faucet water. Before we introduced her to our mega home distiller, she was having tons of problems. After that, the problems have disappeared. Just showing you what it looks like after you clean a batch of water. So you'll see there that it's got some specks. I just kind of cleaned it out, pushed all this stuff over to the side of the can, and you can see what it looks like in there. And that's just about right there. It's about 3 days worth of gunk since the last time I cleaned that. And then what you do is when you buy this product, they give you something called this water residue cleaner. And if you put that in, it will kind of dissolve some of that stuff off the sides. But if you leave it in there for a month, like I did to gather all that baggie, you're going to end up with this, which is just crust stuff at the bottom. It's not a problem, though, because, again, once I pour the water in here to distill it, obviously it cleans it before it gets into the jug. So you'll see here what I'm doing now is going to go ahead and fill that up. You just run your regular faucet water. I've heard people say that you could easily pee. Yes, you heard me. Pee inside this water distiller, and it will still come out at 1 or 2 or 0. I have not tried that, so I only have heard that. But anyway, I fill this up, and you'll see there. Now, on the side of this jug, you'll see this full line. Basically, you just make sure you fill up the water to that point. So let me grab some more here. Fill it up to that full line, and it's that simple. You put the top on, you click one button. There's only one button on this machine, and then it starts. And it takes about 5 hours, 4.5 to 5 hours to do, which comes out to be about a gallon of water. And then you're done, and this system turns off on its own. So here you'll see me filling it up to the full line, and then the only downside of the machine, if there is one, would be it's a little noisy. No noisier than your dishwasher. It's not bad, but I'll show you that sound here in a second, just so you can hear what it sounds like when turned on. And then I'll show you where you can get one of these. It is the Mega Home water distiller. It comes in white, comes in silver. But again, I don't make any money from Amazon. I'm just recommending it because I think it's a good product. So before let me turn that down. Before I show you how we turn that thing on, obviously I have to empty my clean water. So this is going into a glass jug, and we'll talk a little bit about how important that is to not keep distilled water in plastic or in plastic cups, because the water can leach off that plastic once it's distilled. But in glass, you'll be fine. So what I do is just keep a lot of these jugs around, and we just fill them up. And let me turn this back up just so you can hear the machine turn on here. So what I do is I take this over, put that spout right underneath that little distiller spout there, the little nozzle, and you just press that one time. And now you hear the distiller going. And like I said, 5 hours later, I'll have a full gallon of water there. So it seemed louder because I put the can right next to it. But what happens is that metal container here basically heats up the water to 212 or so degrees. I'll actually show you a diagram of what's going on in there. Then you get its steam. All the steam goes up. It's clean, purified, and then it will drip out slowly over the next 5 hours until you have completely clean water. So really an awesome device. I use it 2 times a day. We go through 2 gallons of water a day. Also, when I have any extra, I put it in this little stainless steel canister next to my sink. The reason for that is we wash like dishes with it. Also, that's what we use when we clean fruit. When you rinse fruit or lettuce or anything like that, rather than use the faucet water, which obviously has high levels of fluoride in it. For instance, if I'm going to clean this tomato, I'll simply use that water, the distilled water, to rinse off fruit, things like that. Let's see here. So that makes it easier to do that. And let me show you what I do in the bathroom, because what I've done is I've completely removed fluoride from my life, which is pretty good. Not completely, I guess somebody could say. There is some naturally occurring. I guess there is some probably in this water, very minute amounts if I were to send it in to be tested. But I do not any longer use it to brush my teeth. When I'm in the shower, and we can talk about this more too, but when I'm in the shower, I just make sure I keep my mouth closed the whole time. I don't let any faucet water anywhere near my mouth. One of the reasons, and I've explained this many times on Monday Night Raw and things like that, that if you think about it, anybody who's ever done drugs in the past, if you've ever done acid, for example, all you need to do to get that acid in your system is to place the tab or the sugar cube, whatever, on your tongue. Anything in your mouth, that's the quickest way to get to your bloodstream. So if you've ever known anybody who does cocaine, sometimes they'll dip cocaine on their finger and rub it on their gums. The reason for that, that's the quickest way to get it into your system. So I think the most sensitive part of your body is your mouth, of course, right? And so what they want, or what most people do, is they use fluoride toothpaste and they rub it on their gums. They're basically brushing their teeth with fluoride, which places it directly into your bloodstream, which I'm totally against. Again, and let me just point this out. These are all my opinions. These are all my beliefs. You can believe differently. If you want to rub fluoride on your gums all day long, go ahead, go do it. I don't care. That's up to you. Have fun, enjoy yourself. I don't think it's smart, and we'll explain why. But basically, I have this little setup at my house. I have this jar that sits on my bathroom sink. I've got this jar here, which has my homemade toothpaste in it, which I'll give you the ingredients for here in a second. And then I've got this jug here for rinsing. Okay, so now I no longer have any fluoride going into my mouth. Basically, I take my toothbrush. You also want to, with this homemade toothpaste, one thing you want to do is you want to run hot water while you brush your teeth. That's important because the homemade toothpaste can build up in your pipes and can cause a problem. So I run hot water. I grab my toothbrush. If I'm going to rinse the head of it, I rinse it with the distilled water. So get it on that toothbrush like that, just to kind of clean it off. I'll then dip my toothbrush into the homemade toothpaste. Get that on there, brush my teeth with that, and then, like I said, once you're ready to, I can wash off the toothbrush, that's fine, like this. I can then rinse the head like that with the distilled water. So, and then also I have the jug, which after that I would use to rinse my mouth. So that's basically the extent of that. Let me show you the real quick here. Oops, I kind of messed that up. I'll show you the ingredients for the toothpaste if you want to do this. And again, like I said, you can find many more recipes. This is just the one that I use. I use 3 tablespoons of coconut oil. The great thing about this is that, it's all natural. That's the great thing. What's better than that, right? I want all natural toothpaste. I don't want the stuff that's got all the chemicals in it. I don't want anything in my mouth that says, if swallowed, call poison control, which is exactly what you get on toothpaste or on mouthwash. So you got the coconut oil, 3 tablespoons of that. That helps you kill bacteria. It prevents tooth decay. It removes any harmful chemicals in your mouth. So that's a great ingredient here. You got 1 tablespoon of baking soda. Baking soda is great as well. It also removes harmful chemicals. And then we use 1 tablespoon sea salt. That's kind of abrasive, and it will also, it's got an abrasive texture. It also kills germs. It's a great item there. And then on top of that, you can add a few drops. Make sure you get food grade. Do not get the kind that's used for aromatherapy or anything. You want to get food grade. Either I use wintergreen oil, but you can use peppermint oil. And then mix that all in a glass jar. And that becomes your toothpaste. It lasts me quite a while. Tastes great. Feels so much better than the store-bought toothpaste. And just like that, I've completely removed any fluoride from getting anywhere near my mouth, other than what's natural in foods or what might be natural in other things that you eat or drink. But as far as water, there's it's not getting near my mouth. And like I said, the reason I brought up the cocaine in the mouth and if you were to use acid in your mouth or things like that, is a lot of people say, oh, well, how do you get around a shower? Well, if you place a cube of acid on your arm, if you were to dribble some cocaine on your arm, you'd be fine, right? That's why people put it in their mouth. That's why you can just set a acid cube on your tongue and you get the high effect from that. I certainly don't recommend doing that. Don't ever do that. I don't recommend using cocaine in your mouth, but I'm just using it as a point that we don't want things in our mouth. That's the quickest way to our bloodstream. So anyway, let's get back to let's see. So that's basically it on what I do. Let me show you a few things here. 1 second. Let me bring this back here. Oh wait, do I want to show you? Yeah, we'll show you how I go about, or what the item is that I use in 1 second, if I could figure out what I'm doing here. All right, so this is the distiller itself. Like I said, it's from Amazon. I didn't provide a link, but you'll see up at the top there my little search. You can just search for Mega Home Water Distiller. It's the first one that pops up. Like I said, kind of expensive. You know, $239 with free shipping. Well worth it. It's worth every penny. Like I said, just that amount it scared me away. I said, I don't know if I have the money to purchase that. Thank you very much to David Weiss, who purchased one for me and said, you absolutely need to be doing this. As I've pointed out before, back before I got this water jug, I weighed about 235 pounds. Sad to say. As of yesterday, down to 203. So there's lots of reasons for that. I'm eating much more healthy. Again, thank you to my patrons. Thanks to everybody. I mean, I'm eating healthier. But I think a lot of it has to do with the distilled water. You know, I'm walking 2 miles in the morning, but I do think that distilled water helps draws out some of the impurities in your body, and I give it the most rewards for as far as me losing that much weight without going on a huge diet, without working out, lifting weights or anything like that. Simply drinking distilled water rather than the other ways and getting fluoride out of my system. Who knows if that had anything to do with it? But I certainly feel much better. So that's the distiller. As far as the description of the device, let's transfer this over here. So it says the Mega Home Distiller completes 1 gallon of pure steam distilled water in 5.5 hours. The boiled chamber, including upper cover and condensing coils, are high-grade stainless steel. The outer shell of the body is also stainless steel, making it very durable, attractive. You just kind of set it on your counter, and it looks nice. Comes with a glass collection bottle with a removable lid for convenience. Again, you don't want to put anything plastic. You don't want that water touching plastic. Over time, it will leach. It's another test I could have done, but if you put it in a plastic cup, I'm sure after a little while you might have some more total dissolvable solids, including the plastic that it's leaching off the side of that glass. So distilling your own water can't get any easier. Simply fill up the boiled chamber with water. Press the start button. At the end of the cycle, the distiller just turns off. That's it, and then you've got your gallon of water ready. Like I said, I then transfer it to a glass bottle where you can either store it in the fridge if you like cold water or just have a few of them. They're not very expensive. Get a good glass bottle. You don't want one with BPA and that other nonsense. But and what's included, you get everything you need. The condensing unit, the distiller body, the glass collection bottle. You get some charcoal sachets. It says 1 package of 6 filters, approximately 6 months supply. I've had my distiller about a year now, and I'm still on my 4th charcoal packet. Maybe that's why my thing came back at 1 rather than 0. But again, to buy replacement filters is I think they're $9 for 6 more or something. You get the cleaner that I showed you earlier for the chamber residue, 8 ounces of that, and I haven't even used 10% of that. And then a power cord. Just to read real quick how distillation works, we already talked about this a little bit, but simply pour your water into the Mega Home Distiller, press the reset button. Your distiller then brings the water to 212 degrees. Which is the boiling point, which kills bacteria, parasites, etc. As the steam rises here, I don't know, you can't see my mouse when I use this, huh? Guess not. It leaves behind the impurities and enters the stainless steel cooling coils, where the steam is then cooled and recondensed into pure warm water. The distiller will automatically shut off when it finishes distilling, and then it passes that through the charcoal sachets, as we mentioned earlier. This is just a little image from their site, and again, I don't make any money by promoting this company. They don't even know I'm doing this. It's just simply a great product, and that's why I'm showing it to you, and I'm sure that there's cheaper ones out there. Look hard enough, but this one here, it's just great. So it says you're 70% water, so you can think clear, perform better, feel awesome. You can eliminate single-use plastic bottles from your life. That's the biggest thing. Any water that's sitting out in the sun, you've got those plastic bottles. We don't know how long they've been in trucks, how long they've been in warehouses. And that water can leach off the plastic bottle, so you're drinking basically that plastic. Those things are so expensive. I don't know what the cost is nowadays. I haven't bought one in so long. It used to be when I ran CVS in a drugstore, we used to have sales for like $3.50, sometimes $2.99 or something for a case of 24 bottles of water, and that's pretty expensive, And I think a case of 24 16.9 ounce bottles is probably around 3 gallons. That's a guess. I could be wrong on that. But again, this is a much cheaper way of doing it, much safer, and it reduces your carbon footprint, removes 99.99% of impurities, helps eliminate toxins. It's great tasting water, makes you feel great, and a lot of people that were at Saturday's meetup can definitely attest to that. They loved it. Simple and durable, intuitive design, safe, sensible, and user-friendly. So just wanted to point that out. And again, all you need really to distill your own water would be the TDS meter. Again, you don't even need these things. It's just if you want to spend $4 to test your drinking water at home, to test your faucet water, get one of those $4 or $5 TDS meters. You can get those on Amazon as well. You need a home distiller, and you need a glass jug and some glass bottles. So when we travel anywhere, say we're going to my parents' house or I don't know, Mother's Day coming up or whatever, I just simply pack 4 or 5 bottles into a cooler, or 4 to 5 bottles, and take them with me. So it's very easy. Just put it in the glass bottles, and it's easy to travel with. So, and then one last time, just in case you want to see it, the ingredients for the homemade toothpaste: 3 tablespoons coconut oil, 1 tablespoon baking soda, 1 tablespoon sea salt, and then use whatever food-grade essential oil you want, wintergreen, peppermint, whatever you want. So that's basically it on the first part of today's video, which is the how. So we just learned how I distill my drinking water. Now we're going to be moving on to the why I distill my drinking water, which is a little bit more of an interesting question. So let's move over to the good old Googles, and we're going to learn a few things here. Again, I really think there's a few things you need to do. You need to do your own research. I am going to give you a homework assignment. The homework assignment is to watch this video here called Fluoride Gate. It doesn't have a lot of views, at least the one that I could find. You'll also see here that it's published by David Kennedy DDS. Whether that's true or not, sure. I guess I can make a YouTube channel that says Jaron Campy DDS if I wanted to. But this film, you have to watch the entire thing. We're going to watch a few parts of it shortly. It comes from this website, Fluoride Gate, An American Tragedy. So much information in here that you need to watch. You need to see this. Let's listen to this one doctor just for a second, or this one PhD. Sorry, he's not a doctor. Well, I guess that's a doctor. You know what I mean. Chemist, professor. So let's listen to something he's got to say here for just a short amount of time.
Study did actually. It looked at age-specific exposure to optimally fluoridated water versus non-fluoridated water, and found these odds ratios. That is, the increased risk of young boys, especially at the age from 6 to 8, increased risk to osteosarcoma. 400 to 700%, or 4 to 7-fold increase of risk of osteosarcoma in young boys exposed to optimally fluoridated water during the pre-adolescent growth spurt phase. This is a time when long bones are growing at a very high rate, and Basson studies showed that kids, young boys, exposed at that age had this very significant increase in risk. Now,
so he is featured heavily in that movie that we're going to be watching some pieces of here. So important that you check out this movie, because more than I can ever say in this, we're going to watch a few parts just that are very important. But one of the main topics of this movie that goes into depth is the problem with science when it's run by governments. Okay, so you have to remember that the government, the United States government, decided to implement public fluoridated drinking water. So they now place fluoride in the water for you. Okay, which is a problem to start with, because if we can buy it for ourselves, meaning you can go out and buy whatever toothpaste you want. You can get fluoridated toothpaste. You can get fluoridated mouthwash. So why in the world would the government feel like they have the right to medicate you without your permission? Meaning you've never given permission to the government to medicate you with fluoride. And on top of that, think about what's happening here. And this is what you can learn when you watch this movie. You will learn all about it. You will be in awe of what has been done to the public, because it makes no sense that water that we drink, which barely passes by your teeth, just for a split second, is fluoridated because they say it's good for our teeth, but you're drinking it. Also, they place a certain amount, they place about 4 parts per million, some say 2, whatever, but they place that in the water. It's a mandatory amount, and you have to think about it. They don't care about the fact that some people might drink more water. Does that make sense? So if they're putting in a certain amount, 4 parts per million, okay, great, this won't hurt you. Yeah, but what if I drink 10, 15 glasses of water a day? That's good for my teeth. The water's passing by my teeth, going into my system, and we're going to learn all about how bad this is for your system in this movie. So if we can fluoridate ourselves, then why does the government feel it has the right to put it in our water? This is forced medication by the government. Let's watch just the beginning of this movie real quick. Let me get this set up for you. 1 second. And by the way, I do see some super chats coming in. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to check those all out at the end. I just want to go through this. But if you have any questions, comments, if you want to use super chat, you can surely do that. 1 second. Let me get this for you. Where is this one? Here we go. All right, so let's just watch the beginning of this movie real quick.
As a result of fluoridation, our children will be healthier and happier.
So I certainly don't want to play too much. I don't want any copyright strikes, but I do think that this video is a must-see for everybody. As I've already said, all the things that you find out. Imagine all the improvements we've had in teaching, in schooling, in ways that we learn. And what if you learned that since public water fluoridation has began in the 40s and 50s in the United States, that our test scores are lower, that our children are dumber? What does that make any sense? With teachers that should have better teaching methods, we've got all these tools and devices now, and media that we can use, and our test scores are lower. Children are dumber. And when you look at the timeline and you realize that in the 40s and 50s is when they started public water, and when you find out, we're going to be reading all about fluoride and the fact that it lowers your IQ. And is this something that we think that should be in our public drinking water? Why? Why would the government ever have a right to medicate you without your permission? It's insane. Let's go to a couple sections of this movie, and we'll start at 12:24. Check out this part here. Very interesting. You learn so much in this movie. There's, like I talked about, the problem with government-funded science. There's scientists in this movie that came out and told the EPA, we have a problem. Fluoride is not good for people. We need to stop, and they immediately were fired. Okay? They were fired from the EPA, and they were the head scientist. And this is the guy here at 1224. This is the scientist I'm talking about here. He was the head, and let me get his exact title right, but I don't see it now on here. But you have, like I said, your homework is you have to watch this movie. Let's start from here and listen to something that's got to be said real quick. Here we go. Check this out.
There it is appearing on the screen on my TV set, my memorandum. And that's where all the problems began for me personally.
Everyone agrees, including the American Dental Association, the National Academies of Science, the American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, that the dose of fluoride a baby receives on fluoridated tap water formula exceeds the amount known to cause harm. Why is that okay? Why are we allowing that?
Why would that be okay? I mean, do we really think that the government is out there for our benefit if they're putting something in the water that causes harm to our children? Give me a freaking break. Let's go to 2130. Again, I wish I could show you this whole movie, but I don't want to risk getting any copyright strikes, so let's go to here and check this part out. Again, they're just short little segments I want you to hear.
A mandate under the Safe Drinking Water Act to look at different compounds and determine what the safe level was in drinking water. Through the course of time, fluoride was one of the ones chosen. And as the senior scientist at the Office of Drinking Water at the time, to me, fluoride was just another one of these compounds.
So he's the senior scientist for the Department of Drinking Water. And he just thought he was supposed to do a test on fluoride and just thought it was going to be another compound like every other one. Let's let him continue from there. Here we go. Oops, I probably went back too far. We'll go ahead from there.
To look at different compounds and determine what the safe level was in drinking water. Through the course of time, fluoride was one of the ones chosen, and as the senior scientist at the Office of Drinking Water at the time, to me fluoride was just another one of these compounds. It came to our attention that there was a large study which showed that rats got cancer of the bone, and they got a very unusual cancer of the liver. Now that was extremely surprising. First of all, to produce cancer of the bone in rodents is never seen, because the time that you have between the birth and death of a rodent is only 3.5, 4 years.
So that's the senior scientist, the highest that a scientist can be for the EPA, for the public water drinking. He did a study and found out that fluoride caused rats to have bone cancer, which is never seen in rats, he says, because a rat only lives for about 4 years at max. But this is how quickly fluoride destroyed these animals and gave them cancer. So something that causes cancer is being publicly added to your drinking water, and you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. And your bottled waters. We'll look at a list of bottled waters, too, that contain fluoride and the ones that don't. And by the way, all the links to all these things are in my description. Everything we talk about today, I've loaded it up. There's probably 10 links in my description. Just scroll down, and you can click to any of this stuff. You can watch this video in full. Let's continue.
And it usually takes longer than that to produce a cancer in bone. The cancer of the liver was extremely rare, also shown to occur, and the fact that it happened meant that it was significant. Just doesn't happen. I wrote this memo in which I explained that I thought fluoride was a carcinogen, and that we had as much evidence with the animal studies to show that it was a carcinogen than we had with any of the other compounds, and therefore should be treated as such.
So what you find out in this movie is this senior scientist simply writes a memo saying, after doing studies on fluoride, I've found that it's actually a toxin, that it actually causes cancer in animals and lab rats. He pointed that out. What did they do? They fired him. Now, eventually, he got his job back because it went to court and they found out that he was fired incorrectly. But none of the studies that he did ever came out, to the point where he had to go make this movie. And this is the problem. If you think about it, people don't have the money to fund anti-fluoride legislation or to fund anti-fluoride research. No. But who does have money? The government has unlimited funds to fund pro-fluoride legislation and scientific research. Also think about this. If it was discovered tomorrow, which it's already been discovered, but let's say it came out, fluoride is terrible for you, which that's already come out. This is the problem here, is the government's never going to admit that they made a mistake, that, oh, shoot, we've been harming our citizens forever. They're not going to point that out. So what are they going to do? They're just going to pay scientists to go out and tell you it's great for you. You know? And I've had a lot of people tell me, well, why would dentists tell me that it's good for you? Well, because if they tell you it's in your drinking water and they say it's good for your teeth, but your dentist don't give it to you, well, then people would be on to the trick. Be real quick. They'd be like, wait a second, if it's good for my teeth, why wouldn't my dentist give it to me? So what do? They make sure that all the people that go to dentist school, all the DDSs, what do? They prescribe for you. They tell you how great fluoride is. So now all of a sudden you say, well, my dentist gives me fluoride and it's in my public water. It must be good for me. Guess what, folks? It's not. Okay? Again, make up your own mind. Do your own research on this. Let's go to this point here just to hear the next little bit here at 22:50, I believe. So we're almost there. Listen to this part.
Keep it out. Infants out. 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 Keep it out.
Yes, hello. I'm Dr. Yolanda White. I'm a pediatrician. So I protect the health, safety, and well-being of children. So many kids have dental fluorosis now, which is a sign of chronic fluoride overexposure and toxicity. Those white stains in the teeth, they reflect a reduced mineral content. And it's not just children who are affected. Everyone is.
So guess what? Now fluoride is damaging your teeth. Yep, you heard that right. Damaging your teeth. Now you'll hear a lot of studies and people say, oh, well, since we've started public water fluoridation, that we've had increased amounts of better, less tooth decay. We've had, reduced amounts of tooth decay. Well, I'm about to show you a study that clearly shows that even in countries where there is no public water fluoridation, that we've had the exact same reduction. Why? Because people are getting smarter. People are taking care of their mouths better. That's all. It has nothing to do with public water fluoridation. So, again, this is forced medication by the government, and Everyone you hear support any kind of this fluoridation works for, in some part, the government, who is the ones placing it in your water somehow, some way. Originally it was intended, and this is all stuff you learn in this movie, but originally it was intended to be less than half of what it is, but scientists were forced to lie and to change the scientific studies. You actually hear the scientists who were a part of this tell you that when they came back and said, okay, we've looked into it, we can see 1 to 2 parts per million, that would be fine. They were then forced by the EPA. They said, no, it needs to be 4 parts per million. They said, well, that's not safe. We're saying 1 to 2 is, and they were forced to lie and then change the scientific studies to allow double what the real scientists actually believed. And again, another thing you need to think about here, who is making out by telling you not to fluoridate your water? Nobody's making money here. Who's the ones making money? They always say follow the money, follow the dollar, right? Well, who is making money? The ones that are pumping this stuff into medications, into our drinking water, into toothpaste, into everything that you can imagine. And where does it come from? We're going to learn that too. But I talked about the drug use and the EPA. It would take the EPA would take political heat if they ever released that proper data. And this is in the movie. Again, there's tons of EPA scientists in the movie that will tell you for yourself. And several of them were fired for leaking that truth to the media. Pretty sad. You'll meet whistleblowers in this movie. You'll meet real scientists. EPA scientists wrote that memo that I talked about that said fluoride was an immediate health risk. A senior scientist, his name is Dr. Marcus, and what did he do? Well, immediately he was fired. So the EPA is definitely doing the work of like powerful special interests. They don't care about you. They don't care about your family at all. And again, if the government were to come out and people were to find out that they've been harming their citizens forever, the government would be over. People would be pissed. So no matter what, since they've been putting it in your drinking water for 50 years, you need to recognize that no matter what, all the studies going forward will say it's good for you. Because it can't say the other. They can't pull it from the drinking water now. People would be like, what the hell you been putting? Think of the lawsuits. This is public medication against your will. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, think about when you have a little tube of toothpaste that says right on it, don't swallow this toothpaste. Well, what do you mean? If it's in my drinking water, I'm swallowing the damn drinking water. Where's the warning on my drinking water that says do not swallow this drinking water? Does anybody get this? It's ridiculous. It says don't swallow this toothpaste. If you do, call poison control. That's what it says on your toothpaste. But they're putting that chemical, which resides in pesticides and everything else, they're putting it in your drinking water. But they don't tell you not to drink that, do they? And it lowers IQ, causes hyperthyroid problems, and much, much more. And the top scientists at the EPA each say it causes cancer throughout this movie. You got to watch it. Another thing they point out, minorities and low-income families have higher levels of dental fluorosis. Why? Because they can't afford the bottled water. And even the bottled water, like I said, we're going to go through a list of them so you can see which ones not to drink. But there's nobody making money telling you not to fluoridate. Okay? They did a study from 1990 to 2010, and the amount of dental fluorosis in 12-year-olds doubled. Well, why? How could that happen with public water fluoridation? Why would we have increased fluorosis? And if you don't know what fluorosis is, it means you have too much fluoride. Too much. Okay, and that's adverse health effects that are all caused by public water fluoridation. Again, it's ridiculous once you realize this and you look into it. Toxins, folks, are a problem. They're toxic and have huge adverse effects on the health of humans. And these babies in low-income families are singled out. They're fed formula with tap water, which means they have way more fluoride than they should, lower IQ. It's ridiculous. Let's go to 4250. We're going to play another little section here. Check this part out. And this is the guy I was talking about, William Marcus. He was the EPA's senior science advisor, who's now retired.
In spite of the science becoming more and more solid, irrefutable, that fluoride causes real problems such as osteosarcoma. It causes a loss of mental acuity, and in combination with lead.
So this is the senior scientist. Are you not going to believe him? You know, the senior scientist who's now, and he's a whistleblower. You know, this is a guy who went against everything he was told to do and lost his job because of it. Okay, he says it causes cancer, it causes lower IQ. This is from the actual guy who did the tests on the fluoride. And with combination of lead, and we'll learn about that it leaches the lead. Fluoride mixes with the lead coming out of your pipes and causes even more harm. Think about this. When you think about a bottle of water in this country, if you're talking about the United States, go grab a bottle of water right now that you might be drinking, might be in your fridge. You might grab cases of water all the time. If you look at the ingredients label, it'll tell you the amount of fat in the water. It'll tell you the amount of sugar in the water. Like anyone's stupid enough to think there would be any fat or sugar in the water. Does it tell you how much fluoride is in there? No, it does not. But there is fluoride in there. Can you imagine? They're able to publicly and government designed or government ran and government controlled medicate you with your water. And then on the label, they have to tell you how much fat's in there. They have to tell you how much sugar's in there. Does that make any sense? But not how much fluoride's in there? Not how much of a toxin is in there? I've heard people say, and we'll read here in a second, yeah, but fluoride is natural. Well, guess what? So is cyanide. Just because something's natural does not mean we need it in our public drinking water. It's ridiculous. We should get our minerals from food, not water, not government. Okay? Let's continue on with this little piece here. So anyway, he was just telling you exactly what the studies show. We'll listen again.
In spite of the science becoming more and more solid, irrefutable, that fluoride causes real problems such as osteosarcoma,
bone cancer,
causes a loss of mental acuity,
lower IQ.
In combination with lead is probably far worse than either alone.
How about that? So it's far worse than either alone. So lead, we already know, is a huge problem. Water has fluoride, which is a huge problem. And he's saying that together, they're far worse than either of them alone.
No one has taken the responsibility to reevaluate what the levels of either should be in drinking water. I don't know exactly how I would attack that, but it appears to me, when the lead was looked at, that there was no level at which lead did not produce an adverse effect.
No
I
level.
I expect the same is true of
there you go with fluoride, and there's your danger label. So again, I don't want to show any more of this. I don't want to get any copyright strikes. I just wanted to point it out, comment on it, and I ask you guys to watch it for your homework assignment. It's called Fluoride Gate. The link is in the description. So let's move on. Again, there's also a website called Fluoride Gate. Lots of different links in here. Talks about babies, talks about the cancer, talks about dental fluorosis. A lot of people have seen this kind of white marks on people's teeth. That means there's an increased too much fluoride just in your teeth. We're not even talking about the fact that you're swallowing drinking water into your body. Think about all the damage that can be done from that. Let's read a little bit more. So I'm also going to look at some other sites that tell us, that are pro-fluoride. Of course, I'm not just going to read you only sites that say it's bad, because I want to point out some things about those articles. Let's see here. Why do we have fluoride in our water? Fluoride is found naturally in soil, water, and foods. It's also produced synthetically for use in drinking water, toothpaste, mouthwashes, and various chemical products. Okay, so fluoride is produced synthetically for use in our drinking water, and we're going to learn exactly what that means, where it's produced, and you'll have a problem with that, I'm sure. For our toothpaste, mouthwashes, and various chemical products. This is talking about pesticides. We're going to learn about that. Ridiculous. Imagine that it's being produced and then put into our drinking water. And yeah, it's found naturally in soil, water, and foods, a very tiny amount, just like cyanide is. Okay? But we don't add that to our drinking water. Okay? Water authorities add fluoride to the municipal water supply because studies have shown that adding it to areas where fluoride levels in the water are low can reduce the prevalence of tooth decay in the local population. Again, folks, you can go buy as much fluoride toothpaste as you want. Spread fluoride all around your teeth if you want. Why would the government think it's their job to place medication for you in your drinking water? It's ridiculous. Tooth decay is one of the most common health problems affecting children. And notice this, I'll point out a couple things just so we can come back. Remember, it says tooth decay is one of the most common health problems facing children. So it's basically telling you that it's very important for children to have fluoride, even though we just heard a scientist say that babies are having huge problems, lower IQ. We'll read more about that in a second. Many people worldwide cannot afford the cost of regular dental checks, so adding fluoride can offer savings and benefits to those who need them. What a load of crap. What a load of crap. Take better care of your teeth. Not have my government medicate me. Okay? It makes no sense at all. However, concerns have arisen regarding fluoride's effect on health, including problems with bones, teeth, and neurological development. Do you see that? So you're having brain issues, growth issues with children, yet it says, well, tooth decay is one of the most common problems affecting children, so we care more about their tooth than we care about their brains. Okay? Fast facts about fluoride tells you it comes from fluorine. Well, we have to remember this because we'll see that here in a second, which is a common, natural, and abundant element. Adding fluoride to water supply reduces the incidence of tooth decay. Fluoride protects teeth from decay by demineralization and remineralization. Too much fluoride can lead to dental fluorosis, skeletal fluorosis, and can damage bones and joints. So that, I care so much about my teeth, I'd rather have my bones break down, and that makes a lot of sense. Excessive exposure to fluoride has been linked to a number of health issues. Okay, well then there's a problem. Dental fluorosis. Exposure to high concentrations of fluoride during childhood when teeth are developing can result in mild dental fluorosis. So now, the very product that we're told is supposed to help our teeth, however, when we are given it during childhood, and again, people might say, well, we're not getting high concentrations in our water. How do you know how much drinking water somebody down the street is drinking? How do you know? What if that person drinks 25 glasses of water a day? Well, guess what? They're going to have dental fluorosis big time because somebody put medication that those people don't even know is in their drinking water. Okay? Let's see here. Breastfeeding infants are making up making up formula with fluoride-free water can help protect small children from fluorosis. Okay, now they're flat out telling you not to give it to children. Children below the age of 6 should not use a mouthwash that contains fluoride. Wow. But should they use a toothpaste? Because I see toothpaste that says do not give to children below 2. But what about children 2 to 4? Go ahead and give it to them. This one here says children below the age of 6 should not use a mouthwash that contains fluoride, but they're publicly adding it to your public drinking water, which you swallow. Anybody see the problem here? Unbelievable. Children should be supervised when brushing their teeth to ensure they do not swallow toothpaste. Who is supervising the children so that they do not swallow drinking water? Any of this make any sense? Skeletal fluorosis. Excess exposure to fluoride can lead to a bone disease called skeletal fluorosis. Over many years, this can result in pain and damage to bones and joints. I just think of Iru right now. Iru's poor grandmother's in the hospital because she broke her hip. Who knows if this is why our bones are breaking earlier? Who knows? The bones may become hardened and less elastic, increasing the risk of fractures. If the bones thicken and bone tissue accumulates, this can contribute to impaired joint mobility. How many people do you know that have problems with their bones and joints? How many people have arthritis? How many people can barely walk? Right? Yeah. Were they alive around the 1940s, 1950s when public drinking water fluoridation became policy? Thyroid problems. In some cases, excess fluoride can damage the parathyroid gland. This can result in hyperparathyroidism, which involves an uncontrolled secretion of the parathyroid hormones. Again, think about this now, folks. If it's saying excess fluoride, okay, so too much fluoride, but they're putting it in your drinking water, who is keeping track of how much drinking water you drink? Have you ever heard somebody say, well, don't drink too much water? No. They tell you drink tons of water. Drink water, drink water, drink water. This is why I distill my water. This is why I've removed fluoride from my life. This can result in the depletion of calcium in bone structures and higher than normal concentrations of calcium in the blood. I'm only sad because I learned about this now at the age of almost 40. At least if I have another child, my child will not have any fluoride anywhere near them. No freaking way. And that's why I'm doing this video, to try and help other people out there that may be having children. Because for some of us who are 40, maybe it's too late. I'm certainly trying every day now to make sure it's removed from my life. But I wish I would have known this at the age of 10, but I didn't. You know why? My mom was shoving fluoride down my throat. Go to the dentist, get a fluoride. Get this toothpaste with fluoride. Get this mouthwash with fluoride. Drink some water, Jaron. You need to drink more water. Drink 8 cups a day, Jaron. Swallow fluoride into your system. Lower your IQ. Cause hyperthyroid problems. Ridiculous. This can result in the depletion of calcium in bone structures and higher than normal concentrations of calcium in the blood. Lower calcium concentrations in bones make them more susceptible to fractures. How about neurological problems? So now we're going to learn that fluoride causes brain impairment. Unbelievable. In a 2017 report was published suggesting that exposure to fluoride before birth could lead to poor cognitive outcomes in the future. Can you imagine? Think of how many women are out there, especially people who can't afford, maybe minority communities, lower income families, things like that these people have a harder time getting access to clean water, and it's being forced down their throat and into their babies in utero. The researchers measured fluoride levels in 299 women during pregnancy and in their children between the ages of 6 and 12 years. They tested cognitive ability at the ages of 4 years, and between 6 and 12 years, higher levels of fluoride were associated with lower scores on IQ tests. Unbelievable. In 2014, fluoride was documented as a neurotoxin that can be hazardous to child development, along with 10 other industrial chemicals, including lead, arsenic, toluene, and methylmercury. Jeez. Other health problems. Oh, more? Good. I thought that was enough. I guess not. According to the International Association of Oral Medicine and Toxicology, okay, an organization that campaigns against the use of added fluoride, it also contributes to the following health problems: acne and skin problems, cardiovascular problems, unbelievable, reproductive issues, lower fertility, early puberty in girls. Huge one right here. Can you imagine? This is being done to you without your consent. I don't consent. This is why I distill my drinking water. Thyroid dysfunction, conditioning affecting the bones and joints such as osteoarthritis, bone cancer, this word I can't pronounce, joint disorder, neurological problems, possibly leading to ADHD. Unfreaking believable. One review describes fluoride as an extreme electron scavenger with an insatiable appetite for calcium. The researchers call for a balance of risks and benefits to be considered, but be careful. If you do that and you're the head EPA scientist, they fire you. Okay? Fluoride poisoning. Look at all this stuff. I mean, here's some uses. Fluoride exists in many water supplies, and it's added to drinking water in many countries. We're going to learn which country did that first and why every country followed pretty soon. Excuse me. Non-dental sources of fluoride include drugs containing perfluorinated compounds. Okay, food and beverages made with water that contain fluoride. Pesticides. How about that? Okay, non-dental sources of fluoride include pesticides. So they put fluoride in pesticides, but it also belongs in your drinking water because it helps your teeth. Anybody? Crazy. Waterproof and stain-resistant items with PFCs. Unbelievable. Excess fluoride exposure may come from public water fluoridation. So excess fluoride, which causes all these problems, may come from, well, public water fluoridation. High concentrations of fluoride in natural fresh water rarely happens. Fluoridated mouth rinse or toothpaste that are told by the ADA and everybody else that it's important. Excuse me. Untested bottled water. Inappropriate use of fluoride supplements and some foods. Excuse me. And then it says the American Dental Association says fluoride in water benefits communities because, well, of course, because it makes them money. Why else would it? It's all you need to see there. Okay, so let's go down here. We're looking at some facts. Says here are some arguments against its use from the IAOMT. Fluoride is a neurotoxin, which in high doses can be harmful. Well, of course. Okay, this is the arguments against fluoride use. Excessive exposure can lead to tooth discoloration and bone problems. There is enough fluoride in the water already without adding more. People have the right to choose whether or not they take medications. If you don't believe in that, get out of this chat. Get out of my video. Go home. Watch somebody else. If you think the government has a right to tell you which medications to put in your body, your baby's body, your unborn child's body, then get out. Don't watch me. Block me. Unsubscribe. Go away. It's ridiculous. Different people need different amounts of substances such as fluoride. Right. Let me be in charge of my own medication. I do not need to be publicly medicated. Current levels of fluoride in water may not be safe. It may be harmful to the environment. What if I told you, by the way, and I haven't got to this part yet. Well, actually, we'll go to that next. We'll do that next. 1 second. Okay. So again, this is a great website you can go to. How much does the EPA allow? It says it sets the maximum allowable level at 4 parts per million. When you watch that movie, Fluoride Gate, you'll find out that the original scientists said 1 to 2. Okay. And then they said, no, we needed it at 4. You need to change the science. You need to change your results. Find out. You'll be listening to the actual scientists who were told that from the EPA. People were asked to inform the EPA if levels are above 2 parts per million. Levels above 4 parts per million can be hazardous. Again, if that's true, who is regulating how much water I drink? This is what okay, so there's 2 parts per million in that water, but what if I drink more water than my neighbor? Well, that's a problem. In areas where water naturally contains higher levels of fluoride, community water systems must ensure that the maximum level is no higher than 4 parts per million. Okay, let's go to this one here. I want to remember where I'm at so I don't forget here. This is a great article, man, and oh boy, this is the one that got me. Ex-Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura. This is, by the way, this is a dental health, life is better with teeth. This is all pro-vaccine. This is all pro-fluoride. So they're saying fibbing about fluoride. How dare Jesse Ventura fib about fluoride? Well, what did he say that was such a fib? Let's read and see if we can find out whether it's true or not or how true it is. Ex-Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura has said some controversial things throughout his years in the public eye. Sorry, I want to give you a different view. I feel bad now. I should have been on this one the whole time. There we go. Hopefully it wasn't too bad, but anyway. And he uttered some more strange comments recently. Appearing on a Fox TV program, Ventura asked this rhetorical question. Why do they stick fluoride in our water when fluoride is the main ingredient of Prozac? Wait a second. Fluoride can't be the main ingredient of Prozac, is it? Let's keep reading. In the same interview, he also said that fluoride is 90% of Prozac. Both of these claims about fluoride are false. Oh, okay. Good. Well, then explain to me why he's so false. Explain to me why he's wrong. Explain to me why we should just not even bat an eye that fluoride, which is in our public drinking water, is the main ingredient in Prozac. Let's see. Let's take these claims one at a time. Number one, fluoride is not the main ingredient in Prozac. Oh, it's not. Okay, let's see what it is. The active ingredient in Prozac is fluoxetine. Not fluoride, okay? What's fluoxetine? Fluoxetine is comprised of 5 different elements. Okay, well, what are those 5 elements? Fluoride is only one of those. Oh, okay, well, what are the other ones? Are they oxygen, nitrogen are the 2 others that make up fluoxetine, which are readily available everywhere, which we breathe with every single breath, okay? Should the fact that oxygen is an ingredient in Prozac lead someone to fear oxygen and avoid inhaling it? No, not at all. But one's different than the other. We're taking one every day with every breath. The other one we're not. Do you understand the problem here? Anyone who stopped consuming oxygen would soon be dead. Thank you very much for this website. I like my teeth, or whatever campaign for dental health. Now there's a health risk worth worrying about. Of course, research shows that anyone who stopped consuming fluoridated water would raise his or her odds of tooth decay. No, I'll show you research that says no, that's not true. Number 2. It is false to claim that fluoride is 90% of Prozac. In fact, the chemical structure of fluoxetine, Prozac, is blank. By calculating the atomic weight of each element, one can determine that fluoride makes up 18.5% of this drug. Other elements, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon. Has anyone ever heard of these 4? They're the most abundant things that we deal with every single day. So this is what Prozac is. 1, 2, 3, 4 things plus fluoride. It's called fluoxetine, which is the main ingredient in Prozac. Okay? But it says, oh, but actually it's only 18.5% of this drug. Oh, because you put some oxygen in there? Well, guess what? What if this was cyanide, folks? Just think of this exact article and imagine that they were putting cyanide in there. Would there be a problem? Would they could just say the same thing? Well, actually, it's cyanide plus oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and carbon. So it's not even, what, are you going to stop breathing oxygen just because oxygen's in there? No, but I'm going to stop taking it because the cyanide's in there, dipshits. Give me a break. Which make up more than 80% of this drug. Well, great, these are pretty harmless. But the other one's not. It says opponents like to say that fluoride is an ingredient in Prozac because they hope it will scare people. No, why would somebody hope it scares people? Who's trying to scare people? I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to tell you what your government's doing, and it's up to you to make your mind. I'm not making any money for that. By the way, this video will not be monetized. You can guarantee that. You know, these are the kind of videos that don't get monetized right away. I'll hit publish. We'll be done with this video. It'll be immediately demonetized. Of course. No one's going to make money from this because it goes against everything that the government tells them that they're allowed to say. But this is a key fact. Just because fluoride or oxygen are in the drug does not mean those elements are somehow dangerous. Who the hell believes this? So it could say the same thing about cyanide. But this is the key fact. Just because cyanide or oxygen are in the drug does not mean those elements are somehow dangerous. The hell it doesn't. What do you mean? Cyanide is dangerous. Fluoride is dangerous. So what are you talking about? Oh boy. It says at one point in the interview, Ventura made another false statement when he said it was the Nazis that first put Prozac in the water, or I should say fluoride. PolitiFact, the independent, nonpartisan fact-checking service, I'm sure Snopes said the same thing, carefully examined this claim and found it to be false. Guess what? All the Nazi documents are gone, folks. All you need to do is think for yourself. What year did public water fluoridation come into play? About 1940. Between 1940 and 1945. What else was going on in the world at that time? Wonder who they could have taken direction for to get a docile community, a docile citizenship, docile society. Just saying. Hey, you can say it's false. These were determined to be false. Oh, yeah, okay. Because none of those documents exist anymore, but we'll just believe you. Thank you, PolitiFact, the independent, nonpartisan fact-checking service, just like, Snopes, where you get all your facts. It's unfortunate that anyone would use a televised appearance to say things that are simply not true. But this is how the anti-fluoride movement works. No, the anti-fluoride movement works by showing you that doctors say that it's not safe, say that it causes cancer, says that it causes neurological problems, causes ADHD, causes reduced IQ, and people saying this should not be in our water. Guess what? If you want to sell it in toothpaste, go right ahead. I don't care because I can simply go to the store and not buy that toothpaste. You want to put it all over the toothpaste? I don't care. I'll choose my toothpaste accordingly. I'll make my own, like I showed you earlier. But you're putting it in our public drinking water. Give me a freaking break. Let's go back to here. 4 myths about water fluoridation and why they're wrong. Again, we want to read both sides of the conversation. We don't want to just talk from the anti-fluoride movement, right? Fluoride isn't natural. Fluoride is a naturally occurring substance found in rocks that leaches into groundwater. It's also found in surface water. Okay, great. Then it's naturally occurring. Big deal. That doesn't mean that I need to be medicated with it. What are you talking about? Cyanide is naturally occurring. It doesn't mean put it in my drinking water. Okay? The natural level of fluoride in the water varies depending on the type of water, groundwater or surface, and the types of rocks and minerals it's in contact with. This is all true, but you're missing the point. Why are you putting it in our drinking water? If it's already there, then it's fine. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Unbelievable. All this stuff. Some people are concerned about using fluoridated water to make up infant formula. Yeah, watch that movie, Fluoride Gate. You'll learn why some people are worried about it. Then it goes into, however, all infant formulas sold in Australia have very low levels of fluoride. What? All infant formula? Why are you putting fluoride in infant formula if we just saw that it's not safe for children? Are you kidding me? It is ridiculous. Look at this. Adding fluoride to tap water to prevent tooth decay is one of our greatest public health achievements. Ladies and gentlemen, give me a freaking break. Nerogal.com. Myth or fact, is fluoride toxic to the brain? Well, let's find out. For years, fluoride has been touted as a risk-free, effective way of preventing tooth decay. Its daily use had been supported by the American Dental Association, World Health Organization, Center for Disease Control. It is thought to prevent tooth decay by depositing onto our teeth during a process called remineralization, a natural process whereby minerals are deposited back onto the teeth that have been demineralized. Areas of mineral breakdown. Again, they're putting it in water. You're drinking the water, you're just guzzling it down into your stomach, into your bottom, into your body, into your bloodstream. By depositing onto teeth, fluoride is thought to enhance the remineralization process. Then fine, put it in toothpaste. Go ahead. How about this? The history of fluoride. Since the 1940s, the addition of fluoride to the drinking water, termed fluoridation, became widespread in the United States. This was reported to have drastically lowered the rates of tooth decay. However, over the past decade, fluoridation has come under some scrutiny as evidence emerged that the declining rates of tooth decay may not be related to widespread fluoridated water supply, but rather improved dental hygiene, which makes more sense, consistent with daily flossing and toothbrushing. The World Health Organization published data on tooth decay trends internationally and found that tooth decay rates have precipitously declined in all Western countries, regardless of whether or not the country fluoridated the water. Immediately upon hearing that, if the government cared about you, your family, your health, public water fluoridation would be done. But yet, it continues. It's mandatory. Moreover, in countries that have abolished fluoridated drinking water, the rates of tooth decay have not increased. Wow. So much more on this page to read. You got to read it yourself. It is insane. Let's go to the next little clip we have here. This is a great page, and this is from the NCBI, okay, which is the Scientific World Journal. See that here? Again, all these links are in the description. You need to read this. This is very detailed. Look how long this report is. Very, very long, correct? We're just going to read a few things here. All right. So this introduction here, it says, discovered by Henry Mawson in 1886, fluorine is a corrosive pale yellow gas. Does that sound like something you want to put inside your body, something you want to drink? It is highly reactive, participating in reactions with virtually all organic and inorganic substances. Consequently, fluorine is usually found in soil, air, food, and water as fluorides. Fluorine remained a laboratory curiosity until 1940, when nuclear energy requirements stimulated commercial production. Wait a second. Fluorine is created during nuclear energy commercial production? In industrial settings, fluorine and its compounds are used in producing uranium, plastics, ceramics, pesticides, and pharmaceuticals. So when we read earlier where it comes from, this is where it comes from. This is where it is made for you. And they put it in your drinking water. Well, thinking maybe they're trying to get rid of it? Unbelievable. Okay, it talks about Dean and his team were able to find that water containing fluoride at a concentration of 1 part per million appeared to offer some caries protection while minimizing the extent of dental fluorosis. 1. But what did they tell the EPA? We need 4. We need more. Further multi-site studies commenced in 1945 to determine impacts of fluoridated water on dental caries prevention and health also appeared to demonstrate a positive effect of water fluoridation, which claims of a reduction of dental cavities or caries by up to 60% among the 30,000 school children in Grand Rapids, Michigan. This is where they first did it in the United States. However, these findings have been criticized for major methodological flaws, including data cherry picking and selection bias. Notwithstanding this, and before the final results of these studies were known, the U.S. Public Health Service adopted the 1 part per million dose and supported the widespread introduction of the community water fluoridation schemes in 1950. How about this? The United States' lead in instituting artificial water fluoridation led to its acceptance by the World Health Organization as an effective oral health intervention. Unbelievable. The fluoridation debate highlights the dynamics of science and power. To date, the dominant narrative has been that water fluoridation is safe and effective, with advocates claiming strong scientific support and the endorsement of the practice by major dental and public health bodies as evidence of its effectiveness. This is despite key questions about the efficacy and effectiveness of ingested fluoride, concerns about safety, and questions about ethics and legality producing a debate that is potent mixture of scientific, professional, corporate, and ethical arguments. You need to read this entire document. We'll consider that part of homework too. So much important information in here, and for those who need it to be from a science website, this is a Scientific World Journal, volume 214 from 2014, February 26. You'll definitely want to read that. We read about Jesse Ventura. This is a very interesting document. If you go to WikiLeaks, I'm on WikiLeaks now. Again, this is linked in the description. It's Dr. Blaylock's water warning. We're just going to read a few things here. This is a doctor telling people about his problems with water. He said, "Until I learned some of the information you'll read here. In the next few minutes, I just hoped I was getting most of my water in other ways, soft drinks, coffee, iced tea, but these drinks aren't so healthy. In fact, many of them lead to dehydration, and they certainly aren't an adequate replacement for fresh, pure water." Excuse me. What happened here? Okay. Where's my other marks? Oh, here we go. Tap water in most areas is polluted with fluoride, arsenic, aluminum, pesticides, herbicides, and other organic chemicals. The presence of fluoride in the water increases lead content as well. So the fact that you've got fluoride running through the pipes where there's lead already, the more you drink, the worse is the pollution of your body. Many of these pollutants are fat soluble, meaning that they will, the nervous system, it'll be with you for a long time. They will be with you for a long time, and they accumulate in the nervous system. The government began adding fluoride to drinking water years ago in a well-meaning but misguided attempt to reduce cavities. Sadly, more and more research now supports links between drinking fluoridated water and degenerative brain diseases such as Alzheimer's. Other medical problems associated with fluoride include cancer, behavioral problems, thyroid suppression, male infertility, and impotence, just to name a few. Dr. Blaylock warns us, with every water you drink, the fluoride levels in your brain increase, and so does the danger to you. Surprisingly, the fluoride added to our water supplies comes from the smokestack scrubbers of fertilizer and metal factories. This nasty goo contains more than just fluoride, but arsenic, lead, calcium, mercury, polonium. Man, most municipal water systems contain insignificant amounts of aluminum. I'm sorry. Start over with that. I can't read. Most municipal water systems contain significant amounts of aluminum. When combined with fluoride in even minute concentrations, this additive produces a compound that is very toxic to the brain, resulting in widespread brain cell death. Folks, when people are testing these chemtrails that are coming out of planes, they're finding out that there's aluminum in the air. They're putting aluminum everywhere in the air, and now we've just found out that even a little tiny bit of fluoride mixed with those pieces of aluminum can cause widespread brain cell death. I mean, what is going on here? What is this government doing to people? If they cared about you, if they cared about your family, if they cared about your children, this would be done years ago. Why would it be allowed to continue? You know why? Because it has to. Because they can't go and tell you now that it's causing problems. They can't admit that. People would be in an uproar. There would be lawsuits up the wazoo. So what do? They pay more and more scientists and people at the ADA to come out and say, no, it's good for you. It's got to be good for you. It prevents tooth decay. It's the biggest success ever in the history of science. No, it's not. It's damaging. It's toxic. It's dangerous. It's a problem. Even worse, fluoridated water leaches additional lead from pipes and faucets, escalating your risk of toxic lead accumulation. In fact, evidence indicates that water in fluoridated cities may have double the lead compared to the water in unfluoridated communities. So now they're just increasing the amount of lead that we already know is a problem, that we already know is dangerous, that we already know causes cancer. Again, read this link if you want. It's in the description. Let's read a little bit more. New evidence of harm from fluoridation. New research links public water fluoridation to significant increases in ADHD in the U.S. and hyperthyroidism in the U.K. New study shows links between dental fluorosis and IQ damage in children. There are now over 100 animal studies and over 43 human studies proving fluoride's neurotoxicity. Evidence has been uncovered showing government agencies trying to hide disproportionate harm to minority communities caused by fluoridation. A lot of this movie that I told you about here is about that exact topic. Again, ridiculous. Water fluoridation linked to higher prevalence of ADHD. A new study links water fluoridation to attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in the United States. The study, entitled Exposure to Fluoridated Water and Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder Prevalence Among Children and Adolescents in the United States and Ecological Association, was produced in the Journal of Environmental Health. If these things are true, why have they not stopped giving it to you against your will? I do not consent. I don't consent to any government-mandated medication. I will decide for myself when I need to be medicated. Thank you. Let's go to the next article here. This is one of the last ones I just wanted to point out for you. A lot of people feel very good because they use bottled water. That's great. But this is the list of bottled waters that do not contain fluoride. Okay, so I know one that I've heard of many times, Aquafina. Aquafina on here? Let's see. Nope. Oh, here it is. Aquafina. Sorry. Aquafina's on here. How about Crystal Geyser? Crystal Springs. Let's see here. Crystal Geyser. Not on here. One of the main waters, Crystal Geyser, that a lot of people drink. And that one does contain it. Let's see, what are some other? How about Nestle? I've seen a ton of people with bottles of Nestle. Let's go to N. Let's see, is Nestle on here? No. So that means that they're talking about. So why would Nestle put fluoride in your water? Ladies and gentlemen, this is ridiculous. Go through this list if you have bottled water at your house, and make sure. How about Kirkland? I know Kirkland's a main brand from Costco. No, Kirkland. Not on the list. Again, this is a list of water that does not contain fluoride. Make sure I'm right here. Well, it says little to no fluoride. Even worse. And again, how would you even know? Look at the label of a bottle of water. It tells you how much fat and how much sugar's in there. And in every single one of them, it says 0. No shit, Sherlock. But none of them give you the fluoride amount. Can you imagine? I can't. I can't begin to imagine. It's ridiculous. It really is. So, I mean, again, you need to do your own research, because I could go on for days and days and days, and I don't think it's necessary. I think that there's been enough information already that at least you should say to yourself, hey, wait a second. This is not the smartest move for my family. This is not the smartest move for my health. I do want to live a long life. I don't want to have bone and joint problems. I don't want to have ADHD problems. I don't want to have brain cell death. I don't want to have neurotoxicity. I don't want to have cancer. I don't want to have carcinogens. And all those things are products of lead and fluoride. And the combination of both of them are even a bigger problem. And then when you add aluminum to the fact, you get even more brain cell death. I don't know about you guys. I feel raped. Why would this be allowed? And once they started doing it, well, you know your government, they're not going to back down. They're not going to say, oh, we made a mistake, our bad. Let's stop. No. They'll just pay people off, special interests, to basically get around this politically. And that's the problem with science today. So many people might say, but Jaron, you never trust scientists when they're out there telling you about the universe. You don't trust those scientists. Well, no, I don't, because they're not going against the mainstream. The guys who are not getting paid to do it. Neil deGrasse Tyson gets paid because he keeps up his rhetoric. Does that make sense? He doesn't get paid by going against it and saying, well, no, I have some doubts about gravity. No, that's not what he pays his paycheck. And what goes against the ADA, when these doctors go against the EPA, when these dentists go against, when these scientists, these main scientists go against the EPA, they're hurting their bottom line. They get fired from their job. They lose credibility because they're not going along with the mainstream. They're not doing what they're told. Do you see the difference? I hope so. Let's look at the super chats. Thank you guys so much. I see a few of them. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Much respect, Jaron. Thank you for all you do. Thank you very much, Justin T. Appreciate that. YouTube, GDLPP station. Click on the truth about Jan Irvin. Thank you, Joey Bounds. Not sure I know what that means, but the Dark News Network. Rock on. I red pill people door to door on fluoride for a living. It's a hard work. Cleaner Water Foundation are. Check out fluoridealert.org. Dark News Network. Thank you so much for doing that. That's awesome. I would love to see if you have a pamphlet or something that's just a quick, easy way, because it's not easy to talk to people about it, because they're just going to tell you, well, now it helped my teeth. Now it helped I have stronger teeth. I don't worry about my neurotoxicity. Jeez. Joshua Doyle. The fake Jews rule the world. Defeat the globalists. Defeat the pedophiles. # Alex Jones. No, Jaron, they wouldn't put poison in our water. I know. Joshua Doyle, it's hard to believe, isn't it? Thank you so much for that super chat. Joshua Doyle, I'm with the CIA. We don't poison your water, folks. No, of course they don't. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. Joshua Doyle, amen, jeranism. Appreciate that again. Thank you, Joshua. My body, my choice. Absolutely. I do not consent. It's my body. It's my children's body. My family. You do not need to fluoridate my water. You don't know how much water I'm drinking. Why? Because you're not me. Pretty simple. Maybe I drink 25 glasses of water a day. Maybe. So you're not in charge of telling me what needs to go in my water. Thank you. Which should be free anyway. Let's see here. Suggestion, search for Andrew Norton Weber, Miracle of Distilled Water. Will do. Thank you very much, David, for that. I'm going to actually copy that as we speak. Andrew Norton Weber, Miracle of Distilled. It is a miracle. I mean, I don't know how to tell you guys that I've lost a lot of weight. And yeah, I'm walking 2 miles in the morning, but I've never really seen somebody who just walks 2 miles and does that. The other thing, I'm just taking so many toxins out of my life. It feels so good. Many people know I haven't had a cigarette since February 28th. Feels great. Feels fantastic. That's just another thing. At least that I was doing to myself. But I've removed that. The distilled water. I feel so much better. Feel so much healthier. Lost a lot of weight. So hopefully it stays there. Joshua, bow down before us and drink your fluoridated water against your own will and take these vaccines because we claim that they're good for you. Do it now or die. Hey, it's the same thing. If you haven't realized the connection here, my body, my decision. Again, if you want to vaccinate your children, go right ahead. I don't mind. You want to fluoridate your children? Go right ahead. I don't mind. Go buy 10 tubes of toothpaste. I don't care. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you walk around and swish fluoridated toothpaste in your mouth if you want. That's fine. That's up to you. If you've made that decision, I hope you've done the research behind it. I hope you listen to this video. If you still choose to use fluoridated toothpaste, that's on you. If you still I hope you don't use the water out of your sink. I really don't. I really hope you don't. It's not safe. I have some serious stories about fluoride. I bet you do. And the only thing I don't understand is your website. You said check out fluoridealert.org. O-U-R-G. I don't think that's a web thing, but maybe I'm wrong. If you let me know what that one is. See here. Could I call in? I have some inside stories. Really? Let's see here. No, Jaron, they wouldn't put aluminum in the air. I know. They would never experiment on us without our consent. Yes, I know. And Brian Stoner sent in $1. Thank you very much for that. Dark News Network. I wish I could... let's see here. Let me figure out a way. I would love to do a show with you. I don't know if now, because I don't have Skype open or anything, and I don't even know if my audio would work for Skype right now. I usually have to do a couple changes. But I will contact you. Hopefully you have a video on your channel or something, or if you email me at jeranism@yahoo and you do it shortly, then give me your contact, give me your email, and I would love to hear you come on and do a presentation. You've obviously done more work into this than I have, and I think it's important that people need to know about it. Again, everyone, check out the movie that I told you about. Let's go there real quick just so you can get it again. Fluoride Gate. It's just very good. It's about an hour and 4 minutes. Very important that you check that out. And again, so I appreciate all those super chats. But yeah, I would love to do a show with you. Thank you everyone for all the super chats. There's lots of help there and support. Again, if you want to support this channel, easy ways to do it: paypal.me/Jaron, patreon.com/Jeranism, or Venmo @Jeranism. Again, if you do purchase the water distiller, let's see if we can get that picture back up here. Again, I don't make any money for it, so I'm just letting you know that it's a good product to use, and it will make you feel 100 times better. If you do purchase that and you want to say thank you with a tip, I would appreciate it again. But you don't have to do that. And as always, a big thank you to my patrons, because without you guys, this channel wouldn't be here. And I think that we're making changes. Hopefully everybody who watches this video realizes what's going on, and cries out about it, and doesn't do any more damage to their body than they need to, doesn't do any more damage to their children that they need to, and has a problem with the government implementing this in 1940 and continuing it despite evidence telling us all the problems with fluoride. If you want to send me an email, you can do so at Jeranism, P.O. Box 3044, Merced, California 95344. Besides that, as always, guys, I remind you to do your own research. Please, especially in this case, do your own research. And when you find people that are whistleblowers that have stepped out away from their jobs and said, hey, wait, time out here. That's what that whole movie is about. Watch that movie. And you'll see, actually, we'll watch one little part of it here before I go. Just so much important information here, but let's listen to this here. Is that not the case there? If in doubt, keep it out. If in doubt, keep it out. Absolutely. If there's doubts about it, if scientists are coming back and telling us it's not safe, that it causes ADHD, that it causes, what was that, younger ages of puberty in girls, all these problems. I mean, come on.
And now, Anotha Venagopal.
My whole class decided to look into fluoride because we wanted to learn everything we could about it. At first, I was a bit indifferent about fluoridated water, sad to say. Over the year, though, I discovered more about fluoride and now jump at almost every opportunity to argue against its presence in our water. I found that fluoride has been linked to osteoporosis, birth defects, dental fluorosis, skeletal fluorosis, possibly leading to lower IQ levels, and more. No fluoridation without representation. A gulp of fluoride water a day does not keep the doctors away. These are the words etched into
So if you're smart enough, if you're a critical thinker, you'll think to yourself, what are these people gaining by going against fluoride? Nothing. Nobody's gaining a thing. Okay? The guy who just sent another super chat, Dark News Network, you think he's gained anything other than helping people by going against the mainstream and saying there's a problem with fluoride? Not at all. Okay, going against the mainstream, you've seen what happened to me when I went against the mainstream. It is not seen as okay. But those are the people, especially when you look at the whistleblowers. I mean, this movie is great. You got this guy, this is the lawyer for the guy that was fired. Tells you all about why he was fired, hiding. You got doctor after doctor, dentist after dentist, telling you the problems. You need to watch this video yourself. You need to do your own research, because when you do, you'll never again believe what you've been taught. Till next time, guys, this has been Jeranism. Peace.